Welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Johanna Burkhardt. I am the soul shaman. And today I would like to take some time to talk about the dark night of the soul. What is the dark night of the soul? What are some common symptoms that you're experiencing within the dark night of the soul? And also a perspective that most people don't see or hear. One that recently just came through as a revelation. And it's too magnificent to not share. So I want to share that with you and my personal story because I myself have gone through the dark night of the soul 2 times. And I can tell you that they're no joke. And it's really something that is misunderstood among the medical community who labels it as clinical depression and among just society in general. So let's start with the symptoms. Some ways to tell if you are experiencing the dark night of the soul. For me, it was a sense of all the things that I had ever known, all the belief systems, all the structures that I have built around me, anchored myself into, the things that I have believed and known to be true for most of my life, crumbling and turning into nothing. I no longer felt anchored into those structures. I no longer believed those things to be true. And it was the simplest things to some really big shit. And it wasn't that I believed in something new. It's not that I changed my mind. I didn't know. I came into this void, this dark room, if you will, of nothingness. I didn't know what to believe. I didn't know what to feel. I didn't know what to say. I didn't feel the same way about some of the people that I was associating with or that I was friends with, that their behaviors, their actions, their energy no longer resonated with me. And I couldn't understand in the beginning why that was happening. I couldn't explain it to people that I no longer wanted to be friends with you, right? I just knew that I didn't want to be around those people. I didn't believe in the same things anymore. I was shifting, and it can feel very lonely because you don't know anything. You don't know anything. You come into this point of nothingness, and that can lead you to feel purposelessness, right? Like there's no purpose. Why am I here? What is the purpose of this? What does my existence even matter? With my second dark night of the soul, that went really deep within me. After the passing of my father, I went into this very dark space. And it was really like I just kind of kept folding back into myself. But it was more of a hole that I was digging, because I felt there was no purpose of my life. I had no purpose. And let me just say this. This is not like clinical depression, right? With clinical depression, you take medication, right? It's more of, it's a completely different state of being. You come out of depression and nothing has changed in your life. When you go through the dark night of the soul, everything changes in your life. Because everything that once was, everything our consciousness is built upon, our belief systems around everything crumble away and leads us into this very dark, deep space. But a lot of times we feel that this dark, deep space is something outside of us, right? Because we feel like we have lost everything. We feel like we have no sense of worth. We have no sense of connection with anyone or anything. We feel isolated. We don't know what, again, we don't know what to feel. We don't know what to think. We don't know what to believe. We begin seeking, right? So we go into this dark space where everything crumbles down. And that is the point of the dark night of the soul. So let's talk about what the dark night of the soul is. It's a space for you to return to your oneness. That's pretty much it. It's a place where everything burns down and clears away so that you can begin to rebuild from the structure of your soul remembering the truth, not what you've been conditioned to believe, not based on karmic memory of other lifetimes that are existing, not based on bloodlines that you and patterns and emotional things that you have carried forth through your DNA and through your blood. It burns all that down. It brings you back into that space, right? And it's not a rabbit hole of nothingness. It's actually a beautiful space. It's the space of creation. It's the space where it's as if you burnt down your garden, right? You know how forestry companies come in and they burn the underbrush right around the trees, and it kind of burns the bark a little bit. It's through that burning that it actually refertilizes the soil for new growth to take root. So in this space, in this dark night of the soul, we are actually absorbing back into ourselves, burning down the structures that aren't serving, burning down the belief systems, the conditioning, the karmic patterns that we have brought forth through our belief, through our bloodlines, through everything. And we're coming into a point of nothingness. Now, when you are, if you've ever talked to somebody who is enlightened or seen a walking enlightened being, right? Someone who hasn't ascended yet, right? When they have transcended their mind, when they come into that space of enlightenment, they know nothing. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't receive it and bring it forth, but they have no formed belief. They operate outside of belief system. They're open to all possibilities, and they just allow the energy to flow and move. They are in complete judgment-free space of energy just flowing. It's really hard for me to explain it in a way that can make sense. So they come into the space of knowing nothing. I know nothing. I believe nothing. I am just open to receiving and allowing things to move through me. It is in this space that we can then begin to rebuild. So what happened for me is on the second dark night of the soul, I came to the edge of suicide. And this is actually very common among what we call starseeds, right? They have to hit rock bottom. They have to come to the edge and be standing, looking over the edge going, is this what I really want? I was at the edge of suicide. And I realized in that moment, as I spoke the truth to my husband, that I wanted to die, that I did not want to be here anymore, that I felt like I was worthless, something triggered in me and my light came on. See, I was seeking light outside of myself. I was seeking why I was feeling this way, to find purpose in my life outside of me. When in reality, it was going within while I was in the dark night of the soul, where I could have allowed my light to just come on and shine. It was at that trigger moment that I realized I didn't want to die. I realized that I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know who I wanted in my life. But I knew that there was a purpose for me being here. I knew it was my job to find it and to find it within me. But guess what? The moment that I turned my own light on, I activated my light body. And my sensory went crazy. See, I had been in my spiritual awakening since 2011, but it was in 2015 that my senses came online by the activation of my light body. The moment I chose to anchor my light into this physical body, I chose to see that I had a purpose here and to find it, to remember my truth. I chose. I made a conscious choice, and it wasn't easy. It's not like that moment everything got better and I didn't have these feelings. But in that moment, I triggered, who am I? What is my purpose? But it was through the activating of my light body that the distraction came in. And that's what happens to a lot of us. We wake up out of the dark night of the soul by activating our light body, and then we get distracted, right? We start sensing, we have sensory overload. All of a sudden, I went from somebody who could have gone out into public and not felt anything to all of a sudden, I'm feeling like the world is closing in on me because guess what? I can feel everybody's anxiety. I can feel everybody's stress. I could feel everybody's worry and fear. And I began to feel overloaded. And I started to have anxiety attacks and feel claustrophobic and not want to go out in public. I began to have these deep sense of worry and fear come in as I was feeling the collective on their beliefs around money and lack and not enough. I was somebody that could have had negative $20 in her bank account and not give a shit because I knew that I would be okay. And when my light body activated and my sensory was triggered, I became somebody who could have had $200,000 in her bank and was worried she was going to go bankrupt and be homeless. Because I was bringing in so much of that collective energy. I was bringing in that, I was sensing it and attaching it to mean something about me. I was calling it in because I was distracted. I was distracted by that energy. It was intense. And it is for a lot of people. We see this online when people talk about being an empath or a highly sensitive, which if you are an empath, you are highly sensitive. And they feel that it is they're the victim of it, or it's something that hinders them. It's not, it's a beautiful thing. We just have to learn to have boundaries with it. We need to learn to anchor into our own energy and to discern between the two. We get distracted by seeing, right? Sometimes our clairvoyance is activated and we close our eyes and we see things, or we see faces or people or colors. Or for me, I see with my eyes open. I see ethereally. So I see beings. I see energy. I see orbs. And it's distracting. Oh, what is this? What does that mean? You sense, right? You get a sense of smell. Maybe you smell a loved one who passed away's perfume. Or for my dad, it was cigarette smoke because he was a smoker. Or Kali Ma comes in with a very strong, fragrant, overpowering smell almost, Goddess Kali Ma for me. And so that sensory, again, is activated. And we're like, oh, what is that? What does that mean? Who is it? And we go on this search. We begin seeking outside of ourselves again. Same with touch. My greatest gift is my clairsentience. I feel the energy, but that also can be debilitating if you don't have good boundaries, because I feel the collective. I feel what another person is feeling. And it allows me to read the collective energy. It allows me to read another person and feel what's going on within their physical vessel and in their energy. But again, it's a distraction. We begin to hear things and we begin to think we're freaking going crazy, right? So this is when people start getting into that space of psychosis. They come out of this deep, dark night of the soul or depression. And all of a sudden they're hearing shit, they're seeing shit, they're feeling shit, and they think they're going crazy. It's not. It's our light body activating. It's our senses coming online, and they are very distracting. So what do? We remember why we are going through this to begin with. The dark night of the soul is a time for you to go within the cocoon, go to a caterpillar to a butterfly. And there is struggle within that. A butterfly cannot fly unless it struggles as it comes out of its cocoon. The struggling strengthens its wings to enable it to fly. A tree must experience wind in order to strengthen the roots that hold it in. A diamond is created under pressure. All of these things, I could go on and on. We need to experience these things. We need to go within ourselves and remember from that space. It is the dark night of the soul that returns us to that absorption point where we get to start again. We get to activate the remembrance of our truth. We activate our 12-point light body template. And the journey then begins of remembering, who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here? It is a journey within. But so many times, and me, I'm guilty, it becomes a journey of seeking, because instead of us going back within and discovering, who am I? What am I here to do? What is the purpose behind the pain that I experience? What is the purpose in all of this? We go seeking outside of ourselves with, what am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I feeling? What can I do with it? How can I share it with the world? And we do all of that without having our new structure built. Because remember, the dark night of the soul strips us down. It burns down our house, our structures. It leaves us with a clean foundation. It allows us to take the time to go within and to rebuild that house, that structure, starting with a sturdy foundation. And once we have that foundation, we can then begin building all the other things. And again, all of those things are already within us. Sometimes it is something you read, hear from somebody else, experience a frequency, a dream that triggers that remembrance, and the flood of knowledge then comes through. But the dark night of the soul is not something that should be feared. And it's something that we don't need to suffer with. I suffered. Mine was a lot of suffering, but it was grace through suffering. I had to learn to accept the pain that I was feeling. I had to learn to not escape or deny what I was feeling. I had to learn to love myself no matter what was happening. I had to learn to love who I was, where I was. And that was my anchoring. That was how I anchored my light body, was through grace, through accepting in every moment that everything that I had experienced, all the trauma, all the heartbreak, all the confusion and mistakes, all the things that I did wrong, all served a purpose of my evolution. And now I got to remember that and burn everything down and have it all absorbed back into my one point. And turn my light back on and begin remembering and rebuilding my foundation within me. And it didn't matter what anybody else thought. It didn't matter, because whatever they're doing, whatever they're going through, is serving a purpose in their evolution. So if you are somebody who is going through the dark night of the soul, or these symptoms, these feelings, this story resonates with you, and this is something you are going through, I want you to see this dark space as not a negative thing. I want you to see this dark space as you going within the cocoon, to allow your new wings to grow, so that when you emerge, you're ready to fly. You're ready to shine bright. You're ready to allow your wings to be seen in the color to sparkle, that you are rebuilding. And if you don't know who you want to be, if you don't know what you're supposed to think, feel, what if it doesn't have to be anything? What if you're not there to create new beliefs? What if you're just there to plant seeds of hope, to plant seeds of what you desire, of where you want to go or think you want to go, or maybe even want to try? Maybe this is when you plant seeds of possibility and nothing concrete. And that your structure is built on the energy of flowing and being open, because you know who you are deep within you. You know that you are here for a purpose. And you know that whatever happens to you, whatever you experience, is serving a purpose. Please hit the bell and get notified when I upload new videos. I'm going to be uploading a video soon about the 4 stages of an awakening. It's part of my purpose as a light worker. something that I am here to help others with moving through their awakening, their 4 stages, and understanding the process and how easily distracted we get, because I'm one of them. And it's okay. Everything that we've done in our life, everything that we have experienced wasn't for nothing. It served a purpose. And I'm going to walk you through the 4 stages. So get notified. Please like, share, and subscribe, because here's the thing. There's a lot of people out there suffering. There's a lot of people out there waking up, and they don't know what's happening. They're taking medication, and it's probably making them worse. It's what it did to me. And what I needed was hope. What I needed was for someone to tell me I wasn't crazy. What I needed was for someone to love and accept me for whatever I was going through in my process. And I'm here to do that for you. I'm here to hold space for you. Please join us if you feel called in our Magical Soul community, which is about reclaiming the magic within you. We are trailblazing here, so we require a donation to enter our sacred Facebook group, because we give openly. We give with our whole heart, and we deem that to be very worthy. And we require an exchange. It doesn't matter what size. It's not about the money. It's about the exchange itself, the exchange of energy, and the sacred space that we hold that group in. So there's a link below to our magical community if you'd like to join and be a part of that. We have a monthly experience and healing every month. And again, it's nice to be supported in a space where you feel seen and heard and know that everything is serving a purpose. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.